What is my overall perception of safety in Poland? You know, discussing this topic at the moment, it's a little bit difficult for me because safety in Warsaw, especially for women, has drastically changed for the worse. And the other day, actually, I was in bed with my friend. I was sleeping over with my friend. I was sleeping over with my friend, my girlfriend. I was sleeping over with my girlfriend, and I was sleeping, and my best friend actually woke me up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. to tell me that someone is actually outside of our apartment screaming and calling for help. Hey travelers, welcome back to Explore with Kojo. Today we are in the beautiful Wilanów Palace, and I'm here to talk about an interesting topic with you guys. What do foreigners think about living in Poland here? And what are some culture shocks that we have discovered from them writing online in an online forum? Let's find out and let's discuss what their opinions are, and are they valid or maybe a little bit invalid for their thoughts. So let's get to it, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and also subscribe to our channel. So let's get to discussing. So what I first wanted to cover is number one, the language barriers here in Poland. So what is something that we will factor is that overall, international people or foreigners may have trouble or difficulty in learning Polish, which is absolutely reasonable because Polish is one of the most difficult languages in the world, which I actually value for them, as it's not especially necessary for them to learn the language and live in a certain country. So what I'll tell you here, and what foreigners have written online or their opinions on things, is that they believe that vocabulary is more important than grammar. So overall, talking about the Polish language, grammar is very difficult in Polish, and it's something that a lot of people, even natives, have trouble with. Like, we can say the word eat in 18 different ways. That is something that I definitely do not expect foreigners to definitely adapt to when moving to Poland, and it's completely valid that they say that vocabulary is more important than grammar, because if you say, or if you know simple words such as like how to say hello, how to say thank you, how to say please, how to say overall general things, you learn faster rather than learning the grammatics first. So that is definitely something that I don't blame them for, as well as the availability of them to speak English in Poland is quite available. I will say it has expanded over time, which is such a benefit. It is such a plus in Poland because when I first moved here, it was honestly difficult for me to speak in English in a normal shop or just in general public. So I will say the availability in speaking in English in Poland has definitely risen and has definitely upgraded for sure. Guys, we are right next to the Wilanów Palace. Look at how beautiful it is here. Definitely a piece of art here in Poland, and especially in Warsaw. Number two, what I wanted to cover with you guys is number two, air pollution. What have foreigners thought about air pollution here in Poland? What I will say, air pollution in Poland, let me tell you guys, it is definitely a struggle, especially in winter. Let me tell you that. Air pollution has definitely been a major factor in Poland, and me, as even a foreigner that has lived in New York, has realized that air pollution, especially in the winter time, is horrible. It's horrendous. And it's definitely something that I absolutely hate. That's one thing that I absolutely hate about Poland, is its air pollution, because in the winter a lot of smog comes into place. And it's difficult to even go outside or take a walk during the winter time, which I definitely don't like, because even to step outside of your apartment or your house, it's difficult to do so because the air quality is so horrible. People usually I don't know how to say it in English, but they burn wood or they burn things a lot more, and that causes a lot of smog. I may say that I'm not 100% fully educated on how that works, but I will say the effects are definitely there. In comparison to countries like the US or Dubai, I've never ever, or not Dubai, but the UAE, I've never ever seen smog or pollution as bad as it is here in Poland. So that is definitely something that I would agree with foreigners on, is that air pollution definitely is a major no-no here. Number 3, what I would cover and would agree with foreigners is the weather. Guys, I have even personally spoken to an Uber driver around 2 weeks ago. I was actually in an Uber and I was with a foreigner. He's a student. He is a student from Turkey, actually, and he's studying here, and it is his first year here. And I asked him, like, what do you like about Poland? What do you dislike about Poland? He told me he hates the weather here. Especially if he's from Turkey, he has beautiful beaches, he has beautiful weather there, and he comes to Poland and he's met with depression, seasonal depression, and overall just a depressive environment here in Poland because of the weather. The weather turns, obviously in the winter it gets darker sooner, so at 4 p.m. it is dark. Basically the sun is down, it is dark, and that is definitely a factor that kind of influences you to move to Poland or not, because your mood and your overall motivation to work just decreases during the winter because of the weather here. And that is something I'll definitely agree with foreigners, because the summers are beautiful. As you can see, the weather is beautiful here, but winters are just horrendous. They're horrible. And although the snow could be nice, the fact that it gets dark and gloomy so quickly is definitely something that I take in as a factor that I really don't like about Poland, is that it gets really dark and gloomy, and that's definitely something that we cannot control as a country. But although Poland is a beautiful country, in the winters, it gets very gloomy, it gets very depressing, and the way that people cope with that is, for instance, coming home early, going out with friends, or just in general, adapting to the weather for sure, going on vacations even. It kind of awakens you and doesn't put you in the seasonal depression of what Poland really is during that time. So that is something that I will agree with on foreigners, is that there is a seasonal depression here, and the weather really impacts how you see the country itself. Number 4, cultural differences. So maybe as a native for me, or someone that has lived here for a long time, what I will say is that there are major cultural differences in comparison to Poland and in comparison to other countries. As foreigners said on the forum, they say that they were shocked to hear that everything is closed on Sundays or on holidays as well. That they could pretty much go nowhere on a holiday, which is definitely something that could be a culture shock, or something that kind of disappoints them at the same time, is that, everything is closed on holidays and on Sundays, which kind of defeats the purpose of going out that day. So you kind of have to sit at home during that time, which many people may appreciate, of course, and get that time off of work. They may appreciate that, but others may want to do some productive things on their day offs but aren't allowed to. So that's definitely something that I understand from foreigners, and I would classify as a culture shock, is that how foreigners kind of see Poland and how they see things is that, they aren't open to do everything that they want to do, maybe. And of course, that's from my opinion, but they may feel secluded on those holidays and on those, oh my God, they may feel secluded or kind of closed down on those holidays and on those Sundays, on those days off, is that everything is closed, right? So that is definitely something that I value, and of course it's definitely a culture shock for them that they maybe don't have of course they don't have it in the US or maybe neighboring countries, and that's something that could shock them when moving here. Number 5, here we have social life. Let me tell you guys here, this point I very much kind of disagree with. Let me tell you why. Poland, and in general Warsaw, has grown so much in society and in a sociological standpoint, it has grown so much and it has developed so much. What I'll say here is that in troubles in making friends in Poland as a foreigner is definitely not, I wouldn't say it's not valid, but I don't agree with it. Because I have met so many international people here that have more friends than me as a Polish person. Because I think so many foreigners have decided to travel to Poland that foreigners with foreigners really integrate with each other. And especially the fact that Poland is so surrounded about bars and about integration in those kinds of places, such as bars and restaurants. It is so much easier to find friends there since everybody talks to each other, and of course alcohol also comes into the mix. So it's definitely not a big factor as to why I would say not to move to Poland is that you can't find friends. You can definitely find friends here, and I would slightly disagree that it's hard. I've personally, what I'll say, it was easier for me to find friends here in local areas than it was in Dubai. When I lived in Dubai, it was a lot harder for me to find friends there since it was a little bit of a closed off city, and it's so large that it wasn't as easy for me, an 18-year-old, to find friends there. In comparison to Poland, it is 80 times easier for me to find friends here in a park or overall just in general out. It's a lot easier for me to find friends. So I wouldn't agree with that one quite yet. Of course, I will also add with the social life is integration into Polish society as a foreigner, maybe it may be a bit of a culture shock for you to integrate a bit into Polish society, into their Polish standards and find Polish friends. I absolutely understand that may be difficult, but Polish people are so open to meeting new people's cultures and actually having to talk to someone. They don't mind it, especially if you're looking for new friends. I know so many friends of mine that have so many foreigner friends, and they never have any problem with, like, I guess, adapting into Polish society because it's so welcoming and it's so open. And Polish people really like when you get into their culture and you learn about their culture and you, for instance, eat Polish cuisine or visit famous Polish monuments. They really, really value the fact that you value their history and their culture, and they are more accepting towards foreigners there. Personally, from my experience, that's how I view things, of course, and from my personal experiences of finding foreigner friends or my friends finding foreigner friends. That's how we kind of view things. Cost of living. Okay, let me tell you guys here. Overall, the cost of living here in Poland is definitely cheaper than it is in, for instance, Western Europe, or just in general, even in the United States or the rest of the world. The currency that we have here in Poland is of course Polish zlotys, which is around 4 zloty is around $1. And overall, things have been a lot more affordable, especially for foreigners. So if you're coming from the United States or from the UK, you will definitely find Poland as to be a lot more affordable for you. But if you find a job here in Poland, it may be a little bit more expensive for you since you do make the salary in Poland and kind of match it to whatever the price is here, of course. So as a foreigner moving to Poland, it is definitely cheaper for you. And in comparison to the cost of living, apartments, electricity, overall groceries are on the cheaper side for a foreigner or just in general a general person in the world. It is cheaper here. In comparison to costs of living for apartments, etc., I will say that, of course, houses, like large family houses, are more expensive. But for instance, a apartment, you definitely wouldn't pay as much as you would in like a very expensive neighborhood here in Warsaw. So for instance, like right directly in the city center where you see the Palace of Culture, of course you would pay a lot more for a very expensive apartment. But if you want to find a standard apartment that's quite close to the city center, you will definitely find one for a general good price. But of course, if you live outside of Warsaw and you live, for instance, in Krakow or in other cities, you may find it cheaper. I'm not entirely sure. I only know the cost of living here in Warsaw, but I will say it is definitely cheaper than other countries around the world, in my opinion, as a foreigner, of course, right? 7, let's talk about Polish cuisine. Guys, Polish cuisine is amazing in my opinion. It is so regional and it is also very like differencing as well. So there are differences in the Polish cuisine as well as it depends on the season as well. So for instance, let's cover this. During Christmas time, of course, in Poland we have a tradition to eat a certain, so basically we have Vigilia, which is the night before Christmas, of course, Christmas Day. So it's like Christmas Eve. And we have a full array of dishes that almost every Polish family eats. So for instance, we have barszt, which is like a red soup. It's like a beetroot soup. And we also have it with Polish dumplings. And we also have bigos, which is also like it's a stew. And we have fish, and we have other things. We have salads, other dishes that we eat on Christmas. But in comparison, during Easter, of course, there's a seasonal difference here. On Easter, we eat żurek, which is a very popular soup here, and we also eat eggs and other things that kind of correlate with Easter. So the differences in the two dinners that we have throughout these two different holidays are so crazy to me, but it's also a tradition that I've lived with all my life and that I really respect, because the Polish culture has expanded so much and it's also been very traditional. So that is definitely something that a lot of foreigners might have to get used to, as to what the food is like on different seasons, if that makes sense. During the winter, for instance, we have hot wine. A lot of restaurants here in Poland during Christmas time sell hot red wine, which is also a very nice and seasonal, I guess, beverage that a lot of adults also drink, and you can only buy it during the winter time. So I think that's also pretty amazing. And also in terms of grocery shopping, you can pretty much find anything in a grocery store as it ranges. We have so many videos on our channel as well showing grocery shopping here in Poland, and just overall the food here. So we have żurek, we have bigos, we have pierogis, which a lot of people know and correlate with Poland, but we also have a lot of different foods as well. We have a wide variety of soups. We have a wide variety of dishes like gołąbki. We have amazing dishes that really correlate with Polish culture. Number 8. Now I'll cover the travel opportunities. Guys, as an EU citizen, I will say the travel opportunities from Poland are definitely wide for me. All I can do is honestly bring my ID and I can travel all around Europe with just my ID, which is so beneficial as us being a part of the EU. And since Poland is basically Central Europe, it is also a major plus because we are connected to so many countries around us. We can honestly even go by train to the Czech Republic, or we can go by train to Germany, or we can go by car to Germany. So it is so close to us, and it is so, there's a wide and diverse range of countries that you can visit here when living in Poland, which is honestly a great factor when moving here, is that there's such a wide variety. Look at this beautiful place, by the way. Look at how beautiful that is. And definitely in terms of price range as well, traveling from Poland is definitely more affordable than you would from the United States, for example. You would pay double the price if you're going from the US to Greece. But of course, if you're going from Poland to Greece, a lot faster. The plane is only like 2 hours long, and also the price ticket is a lot cheaper. So definitely there are a lot of travel opportunities when it comes to here in Poland, is that you can go anywhere pretty much by train to neighboring countries, and plane tickets are a lot cheaper than they are in other countries. Let's cover work life here. As a foreigner, you can definitely, I would say Poland has definitely expanded for the work-life ethic here, or just in general the work opportunities that you get as a foreigner. So I personally have met a lot of citizens, or just in general a lot of foreigners that have adapted to the work here. So for instance, they work in Uber, which, let me tell you guys, working in Uber, you can make a lot of money. And they work through that and they honestly make up their savings. So as I mentioned before, that I met someone through Uber that is from Turkey. He says that he makes his extra earnings through Uber actually, and he makes a lot more money after his studies, and he basically manages work and studies at the same time, which I really value at the same time, because you are in an international country as well, so it is difficult for you to find a job if you don't speak Polish. So like a normal restaurant job as well, you couldn't be a waiter if you don't know simple words in Polish, but you can definitely find a lot of opportunities. Poland and in general Warsaw has expanded so much in terms of accepting foreigners into our country. Of course, as it has expanded a lot more foreigners are coming into Poland, and that's definitely something that Poland has adapted to. And honestly, managing work and life here in Poland is I wouldn't say it's difficult. I think work here is honestly so adapting in the sense that let me give you guys a perspective, let's say, to make it sound easier. In Dubai, usually when you are hired into a workplace, you work 6 days a week and you only have 1 day off. And that 1 day off is strictly on that day. And you rarely get any days off. There's 3-month probation periods there. It's a long process to find a job in the UAE. In comparison, here in Poland, if you work in a restaurant, for instance, you pick the days you want the shift. And you pick the times that you want the shift. And of course, you speak about the pay that you want, etc., the position that you want. And I think that is honestly also so much more comforting, since you aren't forced to work all those days. You can choose when to work and you can choose when not to work. So I think that's something that foreigners may also appreciate, in my opinion, and what I also appreciated, in my opinion, because I have many friends that work in my old pizza shop where I used to work, and they pick the days that they want to work. So for instance, if you want to work only 1 day a week, you work 1 day a week. If you want to work 3 days a week, you can work 3 days a week. Of course, depending on the shift schedule. What is my overall perception of safety in Poland? Discussing this topic at the moment, it's a little bit difficult for me, because safety in Warsaw, especially for women, has drastically changed for the worse. Of course, our rights here, for political rights in general for women, aren't the greatest. Our political system, or our government, isn't the greatest here in Poland. In terms of safety, I will say I feel safe as a woman here in Warsaw, but at times I don't. And the other day, actually, I was in bed with my friend. I was sleeping over with my friend. My girlfriend. I was sleeping over with my girlfriend, and I was sleeping, and my best friend actually woke me up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. to tell me that someone is actually outside of our apartment screaming and calling for help. There was a woman outside of our apartment screaming and begging for help, saying that she needs help and that she's in danger. And we, me and my best friend, we are only 18 years old, 18, 19, we were alone, and we felt a little bit at risk because, it was 3 a.m. on a Sunday night, and there was someone calling for help, and we couldn't really do much because, what if we were in danger? So I definitely felt in danger. We contacted the police, and we're not sure what happened at the end of the day. We don't know if the woman got help, but she was in danger at the time. And what I will say is, I've also seen a lot of documents of women walking in Warsaw at 3 a.m. and there were drunk or high men tackling her on the floor and not leaving her alone. And those kinds of situations scare us women here living in Warsaw or in Poland, is because we don't know if we are in danger as well. So that's definitely something that I will take into account as to how I feel as a woman here in Warsaw, is that at times I do feel unsafe, especially in situations that I've seen people, you know, beg and cry for help, and I felt that I couldn't help because I may be the one in danger as well. So that's something that I definitely want to discuss, and I want to change in Poland in general, and want to spread the word to raise awareness. What I will say about Poland, people really value connecting with nature. For instance, I'm here in a park on a Tuesday, and there are so many people here with their family, their relatives, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their wife, their husband, their kids. They are all here in this beautiful park and spending time with each other on a Tuesday. And I think that's something that people really value, or kind of like integrate work and life together, is that they take their time and spend time with their family. And that is definitely something that I've realized is a difference in daily routines. People really value going on bike rides. They like walking. They like using public transportation instead of cars. And I think the world is a little bit more open and a little bit more peaceful, and is less in a rush. I think cities like New York City and Dubai are so like quick, and you're always in a rush. But here in Poland, everybody takes their time. What I will say, what is my personal growth from adapting to new cultures? Guys, I honestly feel that I have bettered myself as a person from moving to different countries, and I have adapted to different cultures and different lifestyles. So, for instance, when I am in the UAE, I don't really have a lot of friends. And that's something that I've also discussed with the social life here in Poland. I don't have a lot of friends in the UAE, and I really value and focus on my personal growth there, such as going to the gym, working on myself, working on my physical and mental self. And that's something I notice when I live in the UAE. In comparison to here in Poland, I definitely integrate more with my friends. I go out more. And that's how I've definitely noticed my differences in how I've grown, is that in Poland, I definitely focus more on my social growth. Rather in the UAE, I focus more on my mental and my physical health. And that's something I value, and I also like separating as well. And yeah. Anyways, guys, that'll make it for today's video on what are foreigners' perception, or just in general our perception on life here in Poland. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like, and also subscribe to our channel, as we really appreciate all your comments, all your integration with our channel. And if you have anything to say or any comments to add, please let us know down below, or any video ideas you would like to see in Warsaw, in Poland, or in Europe in general, or around the world, let us know. And I hope to see you guys soon again. Bye!